If no one else wants to give a regional update, Kim, would you like to introduce our Teach Fund speaker, or would you like me to?
I would need just a minute to do that. If you are able to go ahead and do that, that would be great.
Okay, my introduction will be very brief, and then I'll turn it over. So today we have Professor Adepoju giving a presentation from the University of Ibadan, UI Lisa in Nigeria, about their lab's Teach Fund. And so without further ado, I'll turn it over, and University of Ibadan can go ahead and tell us all about their progress.
Yeah, hello everyone. I want to try to share my slides now, please.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so please, can you see the slides?
Yes, those look wonderful.
Oh, okay, yes. Once again, good day to everyone. Yes, the Teach Fund report is what I'm about to present now. And the title of the Teach Fund is Using Statistics to Enhance Community-Based Waste Collection Stroke Management System in Ibadan, Metropolis, Oyo State, Nigeria. And this project, was carried out by the University of Ibadan Laboratory for Interdisciplinary Statistical Analysis, UILISA, in collaboration with the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources of Oyo State. Okay, so I'm going to be guided by these outlines: the introduction, objectives of the project, the development of the toolkit, results, recommendations, and our products. So this is the map of Ibadan Metropolis, Ibadan City. And Ibadan is located in the southwestern region of the nation, and it covers a total of 3,080 square kilometers. And it's about the largest, it has the largest landmark after Bauchi. And Ibadan is also the capital of Oyo State, and it has a population of 7.8 million people. It is about the third most populous city in Nigeria, aside Lagos and Kano. Okay, we have in Ibadan, Ibadan has had serious environmental problems because of the rapid development in the city. And because also of the environmental sanitation habits of the people in the city. Now, because of the population and because of the way people dispose waste indiscriminately, we have had, problems leading to natural and man-made ecological, issues in Ibadan. So the poor sanitation habits of the people has made Ibadan one of the dirtiest cities in Nigeria. And if you look at that picture that we have there, that is a main road in front of one of our markets and along UI Road. So this market is called the Bodija Market. And you see the way waste are dumped indiscriminately. So this habit of the people has led to some man-made ecological problems, resulting in flooding. Now, the first flood disaster was recorded in 1902, and that was known as Oronyo Swamp flooding. Following that was the Ogunpa flood disaster, which happened in 1929. It also occurred in 1950, again in 1960, 63, and 78. And, you know, these events actually made some people, render some people homeless, and so a lot of properties and lives were also lost. And then another Ogunpa flood disaster, you know, occurred in August 31, 1980, called Omiyale. You know, there were other flood incidences in 1985, 1987, and then 1990. Recently, there was another event, you know, a flooding event that occurred, which also affected the University of Ibadan. I mean, particularly the zoological and the botanical gardens were really destroyed by the flood. So all these events, you know, indicates the extreme danger, and you know, therefore, this needs attention of people, and of course of the government. So there was a time that the World Bank also intervened, you know, to assist in, you know, in curbing this problem of flooding in the city. The picture that you have there is still the same one, taken at a different location on the road leading to University of Ibadan, in front of the major markets, the Bodija market. Okay, so we have the following objectives. We want to assess the existing data gaps and the capacity of staff of the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources on waste data collection. The second objective is to develop data collection toolkits for waste management in Ibadan Metropolis. And the third one is to produce indicators for waste waste indicators for monitoring waste generation, collection, and management. Okay, so the first thing we did when the project took off was the assessment of the planning, research, and statistics of the ministry. Okay, so we made several visits to inspect the planning, research, and statistics departments of the ministry. And, you know, based on the several visits that we made, we came up with an evaluation form, which we used in interviewing the director of the department, the director of planning, research, and statistics. The interview took place on Thursday, April 1, 2021. And then we noticed the following. I mean, we have a table, which is the next one that I'm going to show. Okay, so if you look at this table is the distribution. It shows the distribution of staff by gender, you know, the highest education attained, and the level of engagement in data-related activities of the staff of the ministry. So you see that the for bachelor degree and higher national diploma holders, we have 21 people, 21 males and 14 females who engage in data-related duties. So the total is 35. So, and then only 8 out of the 21 males, you know, have a higher degree, a postgraduate degree. And then 4 out of the 14 females also have acquired postgraduate degrees, you know, in statistics related courses. Now, from the table, you will notice that 35 out of the total of 160, you know, 160 staff of the ministry who are bachelor degree holders are assigned data-related duties. And then the total number of, out of the total number of postgraduates, holders, you know, older degree, or, out of the total number of staff with postgraduate degrees in the entire ministry, 18 and only 12 are involved in data-related activities. You know, the total number of people who have postgraduate degrees are 18. So out of the 18, only 12 are engaged in data-related activities. Okay, so overall, out of the 368 members of staff of the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources, 47 males and 18 females, you know, which are scattered across the department. There are 8 departments in that ministry and 2 agencies. So these 29 males and 18 females are scattered across these departments and agencies. They are only the set of people who have formal training in statistics and are saddled with the responsibilities of handling data-related duties. Now, out of this total, only 2 are in the department, in the planning, research, and statistics department, which is the department that we are collaborating with. Only 2, you know, have degrees, you know, related to data and related to statistics. So looking at the first objective, that is, the first objective, which is, sorry, please. Okay. Oh. Excuse me. Okay, so the first objective, which we said we want, we were trying to assess the departments of planning, research, and statistics, and try to look at how well the department is able to handle statistic-related duties. So we have, during our assessment, we noted the following problems, one of which is underlisting of types of waste and relevant indicators and statistics to measure quality and quantity of waste production in Oyo State. Another one, sorry, please. Sorry. Okay, so another problem that we observed was there was a dearth of indicators and statistics to evaluate and monitor performance in waste management in Oyo State. And then the planning, research, and statistics attention, you know, is only focused on planning and budget mandates. The statistics aspect, because the department is supposed to be the planning, research, and statistics. So the last aspect of their duties is totally neglected, which is the statistics aspect of their duties. So their only focus is on planning and budgeting. That's all they do in the department. So, and then, okay, I'm so sorry. Don't even know where to put this thing. Okay, so there, and then there's little is practice in the area of data processing, statistical analysis, and data dissemination. There's also no collaboration on waste management between the MDAs. The MDAs are the ministry, department, and agencies, and then the NGOs and other international establishments. So this, you know, this because of no collaboration between the departments, this department and the other establishments, this denied them the benefits of interacting with the experiences of stakeholders. And then there's also the shortage of in the areas of human, physical, and material resources. And then, of course, there's no funding, for training, and there's no provision and no provision for relevant facilities at the Department of Planning, Research, and Statistics. There are so many other identified problems which, because of space, I will not be able to list. Then we, however, provided solutions to some of these problems. Okay, so we suggested the following as a way to deal with the problems listed above. Training of staff, the existing staff to equip them with adequate skill and competencies in data management. We also suggested recruitment at appropriate level. In other words, anytime they want to recruit people in the department, they should be people who have had formal who have formal training in statistics, and then to expose contractors to rudimentary knowledge of waste management, to facilitate waste data management at the level of the ministry, and of course to build necessary clauses into the contractors, because they make use of contractors to move waste within the metropolis to the dump site. So if they put in some clauses on the contract, the making of the toolkits, which was what we also made use of when we tried to develop a toolkit. We looked at the principle of SMART, that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Okay, so now after the assessments of the department, we had a training. The training was organized by, of course, we carried along the Department of Planning, Research, and Statistics when we were planning the workshop. And we had a training between 7th and 9th of July, 2021 at the UI Conference Center, UI. And we made presentations on the following topics. We had the reports after the assessment. The report was submitted to the Honorable Commissioner of the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources. And then, so the report was also presented at that workshop. The second topic was the original framework and functions of planning, research, and statistics department. We also, the next topic was waste statistics, production, collection, analysis, and dissemination for policy making. And then we introduced them to Microsoft Excel for analyzing waste data. Okay, so we also looked at toolkits for waste management, and then the coordination and harmonization of waste data across state agencies. So we had participants from, because there are 8 departments in the ministry and 2 agencies. So 2 participants each were drawn from the 8 departments and the 2 agencies. The 8 departments are listed there. The Pollution Monitoring and Quality Control Department, Water Resources Management, Environmental Health Service, Forestry Services, Environmental Engineering and Beautification, Finance and Accounts, Administration and Supplies, and then the Planning and Research and Statistics Department. Now, the 2 agencies, they were also at whose representatives were also at the workshop, at the Oyo State Waste Management Agency, and then the Oyo State Rural
Seems that Deo's internet may have dropped. I know she was having some issues earlier, so let's give her just a couple minutes to see if it comes back. In the meantime, you guys can think of questions that you may want to ask related to the project.
Now with us. So in the national one, it took us about 3 months before we could gain the official approval to work with the electoral umpire. But with this one, it was like they were waiting for a partner, somebody to help them. So that's how it started. The idea came from within the UI Lisa lab. And then getting the support of the ministry. Yes, so getting the support of, are you back, Dr. Adepoju? Are you back, Dr. Adepoju? So,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yes. I have issues with my internet. So I had to change to another internet this thing connectivity. I'm sorry, please.
You have the floor. I was just responding to a question regarding the project. So, Eric, are you okay with that? Or any follow-up?
Yes, I think that was really interesting that your first project was tackling a national problem, and then the second one you wanted to do a local problem, and that the local government was very receptive.
Okay,
It did not take very long to convince them of to partner with you on this idea.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, so I was talking about the training workshop that we had, and I mean the participants that were present at the training.
seems her internet has dropped again.
It's-
Any
it's-
questions for Professor Olubusoye?
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good
Anyway,
afternoon,
it's afternoon.
Dr.
It's afternoon from our side. Yes, sir, Prof.
Thank you.
Very quite interesting job, and it must also state that I actually enjoyed the presentation a lot. In one of the slides, the presenter indicated some number of floods that occurred in Oyo State.
Yeah.
And I think that looking at the number of years we experienced these flood situations, the data seem to be a bit old. And I don't know how you were able to account for the gap between the last time you had that particular flood situation and then now, and how would that one, how would you account for that in a way, or of what relevance would, has the work lost any relevance as far as this data gap is concerned? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. But the first thing is that the study is not about flooding or flood or whatever. The issue is about waste disposal, waste collection, waste management system that is actually that one could trace as the cause of the flooding. So those flooding cases were the most significant, widely reported. But there were even as at this moment, flooding arising from poor waste management system is still very much with us in the city. So the concern here is about waste management, but we motivated the study and justify why the study may be relevant at this point by linking it to the flood cases that that have been widely reported in the recent and remote times.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Thanks. Good afternoon, Prof.
Good afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I have a question. And as I'm preparing, yeah, thank you. I also welcome the baby in the house. It's my pleasure seeing the baby over there. So you are highly welcome to the meeting. Now to the question, sir.
Yeah.
Very interesting to discover that the ministry there seems not to be having a strong support in the aspect of statistics.
Yeah.
And I have passed through Ibadan as a city for several times, even within the space of 2-3 months. And one of the things that disturbs my mind most has been this issue of waste management. So coming across this kind of a study on it is a very important thing that beyond the local environment, I think our government should be able to take special interest. Now, my question, this aspect of statistics in the ministry that is very weak or not significantly better, is there a way of establishing a town and gown relationship?
Yeah.
To start with, if there is a way by which UI Lita can offer a free service, if it is possible to offer a free service to that ministry within the space of maybe 3 months or 6 months, to make them to be highly persuaded of the relevance and the import, the significance of a statistician working with them, so that whatever they do and whatever they want to analyze, there's going to be free service, free support, maybe like community service or social service. Maybe you send some of your students to them to have industrial attachment. I mean, mature students, and some of the students you have trained in UI LISA, if they can just go there to have maybe 2-3 weeks of studying and assisting them over there before you finally allow them to graduate from UI LISA, because I know you offer training. Now, if you do that for the space of 6 months and the ministry see the contribution from UI LISA to the statistical aspect of that ministry, I want to believe a study can also be generated as a control or as an experiment that will show that what they are lacking, this could have been what they will be gaining from what they are lacking. Is it possible to carry that out? And from there, even if there is no support anywhere, if that kind of assistance can be made, from there, they can come to awareness and consciousness that they cannot and should not be relaxing without having the statistical aspect of that ministry to be well developed. Who knows? Maybe that's the real problem behind the problem of waste we have in this Ibadan city, because I think it is our second largest traditional city in Africa after Cairo. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. One thing that gladdens one is the fact that we have been able to establish a very good relationship with the ministry, but the underlying problem is actually that of attitude of our, as you know, our policymakers to issue of data. Data is rarely seen as a public good. So government often prefer to construct roads, to build bridges, to do all sorts of build car parks, than to put money to generate, produce, disseminate data. So it's usually not on the top priority. That's why in the ministry, as reported by Professor Adepoju, the only very few staff are there, and those staff, they don't even have anything to, no equipment, no computer to work with. We offer to assist them, but one other issue is that they don't even share data among themselves. The same ministry, one department not willing to share data because it will, for instance, she talked about using contractors to collect waste, and the contractors are paid, and but it is difficult for those who are making the payment to share the data of the quantity of waste they are collecting and disposing, the amount, because all those things they consider it can be interrogated and it can expose them. So not to talk of when you now send students to help them collect data. So it was a serious problem to really assist. We are willing to assist, and even we mobilize our students and even some of our staff who are willing to assist. But the barrier is this culture, this unwillingness, if they cannot share data among themselves. In fact, to the extent that we decided to bring the State Bureau of Statistics, which is supposed to be the state coordinator of the statistical system. We brought them into our training, and all those data, all the stakeholders in data gathering, we brought them. But, as much as we made efforts to, make them to work together, it never worked. But we are not tired, because to change a culture, it takes time. So we are still in the business. Even though if we have another grant, fine. If we don't have, we are not tired, and we will see how we will, in the long run, change the culture. So, but I agree perfectly with you, and we will continue to do our best. Now that my lecturer has come back, maybe she can just quickly go to the last few slides, and then
Okay, yes.
I think the time is.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof. I'm sorry for the, I have internet problems here, and because of this.
The whole world know that we have
Yes, because of this
deficit.
presentation, I bought data into 3 different networks. Unfortunately, all the 3 are down, but I'm so sorry. So at the end of the workshop, we produced a communique which was sent to the ministry. And then during the workshop, we also constituted a committee comprising of officers from the participating MDAs. And then the committee was to discuss the following: have an effective data collection process, generate the full list of variables for which they collect data, and then to develop templates for the collection of data. And the third objective, our third objective was to produce indicators for monitoring waste generation and collection. Okay, the constituted committee met, and the link is here. We came up with a Google form, an instrument to collect, to harvest the variables that each department are collecting data on. And so at the end of that exercise, we came up with the toolkit that we use for data collection. Unfortunately, after the staff of these militaries have been trained, we had this issue of data collect. They said they will not be able to collect the data because they thought that this will have effect on their job, because they thought that the idea was to monitor their activities. Okay, so they declined and were no longer willing to participate. We discussed with the director, who is always there to assist. But the first thing they said was that who will be giving them the data, the internet connection to collect the data. We offered to do that, to fund them. But then they resisted and said that their activities will be monitored. So they declined. So eventually we made use of our students, our students who participated in the training. So 2 of this, initially we were to look at 3, all the 6 dump sites, but we were told that only 2 were functional. So Lakpite and Awoton dump site. So we sent our students, 1 student to Lakpite, the other one to Awoton dump site. This is a picture of the Awoton dump site. These are other pictures from Awoton, but this is Lakpite. Lakpite is not established, presently. And so the students who went there had issues with the touts, the hoodlums who have taken over the place. And so the students said he used to stay somewhere around this area by the road, for fear of being attacked by these hoodlums. So because of the safety of the students, we decided to move him to Awoton, since Awoton is an established dump site. So the two of them, were collecting the data from only one dump site out of the two dump sites that we thought were in operation. Okay, so they collected data on the following, the location of the dump site. Okay, where we included the location of the dump site because we thought we were going to be looking at the 6 dump sites, not knowing that all the other 5 are not functional. So then type of vehicles used and so on and so forth. So these are the variables for which we collected data for. And then now this first figure shows the location used. Okay, because the student went once. That's why you have 99.4% for Awoton. And because the student went only one day and he didn't stay till evening, he had to leave for his own safety. And then we noticed that only 3 types of vehicles are used to convey, to collect waste. So we have the waste truck, the tippers, and the other one. Now, these are the types of waste dumped at Awoton dump sites. And then these are the local government areas from which waste are moved. Okay, so it's a big, I mean, we have several of those local governments in Ibadan. And so I'm sure you won't be able to see those local governments clearly. But these are the local government areas from which waste are collected. Okay, so we also have the location of waste. When the contractors collect waste, they have to specify on our toolkit whether they brought the waste from the drainage, from school environment, from household, and so on and so forth. And then the day of the week when collection is usually done. Okay, so we have, I have conclusions there and the conclusion and recommendations. So, I mean, because disposal of waste is one of the biggest problems we have in Ibadan, as noted by, I mean, as confirmed by Professor Adedayo. You see waste everywhere. So, and disposing of this waste is one of the problems that the government is facing. So to deal with these problems, the project has helped us to understand that which area do they have to concentrate on? So the area from which waste is mostly generated, the kind of waste dumped at the site, the time of the day, and then the day of the week in which these waste are dumped at the dump sites. And so the information will assist the ministry on how to optimally use the available resources that they have to tackle waste disposal problem. And then we have these recommendations. The planning and research and statistics department should have a monthly, we have suggested this to them, either a monthly, a quarterly, or a yearly publication, like a bulletin on waste disposal and management from the state. And that will be possible if they make use of the toolkits, that have been developed for them. That will help them to be able to make publications. And then the department should also identify relevant indicators. We have tried to collate the indicators and the statistics for them. So they really don't have any problem with that now. And then they should do more in the area of data processing and then statistical analysis and dissemination. Dissemination in the way of the publication that I mentioned earlier. And then they should also institute collaboration with other relevant departments. That was what was on our mind when we invited people, MDAs, outside the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources. The project produced it will produce 2 publications. The first one is a monograph. The monograph will be will have the assessment report and the 3 modules that were developed, or that were developed, 3 training modules that were developed for them. We have completed the training modules. We have written the training modules for them. We have even done the assessment reports. Okay, so these two will be put in the monograph, and then we are going to have a policy brief. The policy brief, it's almost done. It's 85% complete. So these are the things that the products that emanated from the project, the Teach Fund project. These are some of the references used. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. So I know we're a few minutes over, but if anybody had any follow-up questions, please feel free to go ahead and ask. And if not, once again, let's thank our speaker and also Olubusoye, who chimed in to answer a few questions for us. So thank you so much for sharing your results from your Teach project. Be sure to send your slides and the products you're preparing to Kim once you have a chance. And with that, I'll turn it over to Eric